You receive a difficult diagnosis, or perhaps it's the news of a job loss, the phone call informing you of the death of someone you love, or the deep exhaustion of a complicated postpartum period. You are at your lowest point, on the floor, feeling the coldness of the tile beneath your feet. It's a moment of crisis, of absolute vulnerability. Your human instinct, the instinct of anyone in an effective bond, is to turn to your partner. You don't expect them to solve the problem, but to hold your hand, to bring you a glass of water, to offer a shared silence, a shoulder, a witness to your pain. You expect a safe harbor. Instead, what you receive is nothing, a vacuum, an icy silence, or, almost unbelievably, you receive irritation. He looks at you, sick in bed, and asks when you're going to get up to make dinner. He hears about your layoff and immediately complains about how it will affect his weekend plans. You are crying because of your grief, and he rolls his eyes, picks up his phone, or worse, demands to know why you are so dramatic and ruining his night. It's at this moment that a deafening confusion takes over you, almost greater than the original pain itself. You think, it's not possible. I must be misunderstanding. How can he be doing this now? The answer is painful, but necessary. He is not doing this despite it being your worst moment. He is doing this because it is your worst moment. What you see as a crisis, he sees as an opportunity. What you experience as vulnerability, he decodes as weakness to be exploited. This is the most revealing moment of all. Let's decode why the narcissist not only abandons you, but actively exploits you, exactly when you need protection the most. My name is Lauren Mitchell. My purpose with this channel is to show that the problem was never you, and more importantly, that you are not alone. If this video resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave your like on the video. I count on your support. The experience of being exploited and vulnerability is so counterintuitive that the brain struggles to process it. It is a betrayal on a fundamental level. Let's map this territory. Think about your grief. You've lost your mother, your father, a dear friend. You are fragmented. The narcissist, in the first few days, may even play the role of the grieving partner in public. He will appear solicitous at the funeral, receiving condolences. But observe closely. He is receiving condolences as if the loss were his, absorbing the attention, the supply of sympathy that should be directed at you. Behind the scenes, at home, the scenario is different. Your sadness is a nuisance. It is inconvenient. It interferes with his routine. He gets impatient. Are you still crying about this? You need to get over it. Your negative energy is affecting me. Suddenly, your grief, your pain, becomes a burden that he has to carry, and you find yourself apologizing for being in mourning. You find yourself comforting him for the inconvenience of your pain. Now, think about illness. You have a bad flu, a fever that incapacitates you, or, much more seriously, you are facing surgery, a chronic treatment. Where is the narcissist? He is not the person who brings you soup. He is the person who complains that the house is a mess because you are in bed. He is the person who forgets to buy your medicine. He is the person who pressures you for sex, even though you say you are in pain or exhausted, making you feel guilty, ungrateful, or defective for not being available. He keeps an accounting of your illness. Every visit to the hospital is a favor he does for you, and it will be repaid with interest. He uses your recovery time to remind you how much he is sacrificing. The exploitation here is subtle and perverse. He transforms your legitimate need for care into an unpayable debt. You feel like such a heavy burden that you start minimizing your own pain, getting up sooner than you should, pretending you're better, just to stop hearing the complaints. What if the crisis is financial? You lost your job. Your source of income has dried up. A healthy partner would sit by your side and say, "We will figure this out together. We're on the same team." The narcissist? He sees this in two ways, both exploitative. If he depended on your money, panic sets in, but it turns into anger at you. How could you let this happen? What am I going to do now? He blames you for your own bad luck, humiliates you for your failure to provide for him. If he was the provider, the situation is even more dangerous. Your job loss is now the perfect leverage. He will use this to justify total control over the finances. He will treat you like an incompetent child. Since you can't hold a job, now things will be my way. He humiliates you, puts you in a position of abject dependency, and every cent you need to ask him for is a reminder of your inferiority. In all these scenarios, the feeling that remains is a bone-chilling loneliness. You are in the middle of a storm, and the person who should be your shelter is pushing you out. Or worse, stealing your coat while you shiver. You doubt your sanity, because the action is so monstrous it doesn't seem real. But it is, and there is a sick internal logic behind it. To understand why the narcissist exploits you, when you are vulnerable, we need to abandon the premise that this is a relationship of reciprocal love. It is not. For the narcissist, every relationship is a transaction. It is a service contract, where you exist with one main function, to provide narcissistic supply. Supply is everything. It is attention, admiration, validation, financial resources, domestic services, social status, or even the power he feels in controlling you. You are not a person. You are a resource. You are a mine from which he extracts what he needs to regulate his inflated and at the same time, deeply fragile ego. As long as you are healthy, functional, and giving, the transaction works. For him, you are fulfilling your part of the unwritten contract. The moment you become ill, lose your job, or enter into grief, something catastrophic happens in his eyes. The mine stopped producing. The well ran dry. The resource failed. Worse than that, the resource is now demanding. You, who should be giving, now dare to be needy. In the transactional logic of the narcissist, this is a breach of contract. It is a betrayal. How dare you stop providing, and, on top of that, expect him to provide you with something in return, like empathy or care? This leads us to the phenomenon of care reversal. When you are in crisis, the narcissist does not see your pain. He sees a threat to his own supply. And what does he do? He reverses the dynamic. He positions himself as the true victim of the situation. You have a fever? He immediately develops a much worse headache or becomes incredibly stressed about having to worry about you. Your grief? It is so hard for him to have to deal with your sadness, your job loss. No one suffers more than he does, who now has to carry all the weight, even if he doesn't carry any. The narcissist is an emotional parasite. A parasite does not care for the host. It drains it. If the host becomes weak, the parasite does not help it recover. It panics and tries to extract the last nutrients more aggressively before, perhaps, looking for another host. That's why his demands increase when you are at your limit. He is hungry for supply. Your crisis has created a deficit. He needs to be the center of attention. If your illness is stealing the spotlight, he will create a bigger drama. He will sabotage you, blame you, and make you feel inadequate. He exploits you by forcing you to take care of him at the exact moment you cannot even take care of yourself. He drains your recovery energy, your grieving energy, and converts it into supply for himself. You find yourself managing his irritation while you are in a hospital bed. You find yourself managing his anxiety about money right after being laid off. He doesn't support you because, in his worldview, you broke the contract. You failed in your only function, to serve him. And for this failure, you do not deserve care. You deserve, in fact, to be punished for your insolence in needing. The second pillar of exploitation is about power. The narcissistic psyche does not understand horizontal relationships of partnership. His world is a rigid hierarchy, a vertical axis. Either he is on top, dominating, or he is underneath, being dominated. There is no side by side. On an ordinary day, he spends enormous energy maintaining this position of supremacy. He does this through manipulation, gaslighting, veiled criticisms, and control. He constantly needs to keep you one step below him to feel secure. Now, you enter a crisis. You get sick, lose your job, become emotionally devastated. What happens? In that moment, you stumble. You fall. For a healthy person, seeing someone they love fall generates the instinct to reach down and offer a hand to lift them up. For the narcissist, seeing you on the ground is a golden opportunity. It is the chance to put his foot on your back and climb even higher. Your vulnerability is not a call for empathy, it is leverage. This is the moment when he kicks you while you're down, and he does it with strategic precision. He is not just being cruel, he is consolidating power. When you are sick, your ability to resist, to argue, to maintain your boundaries is at its lowest point. You don't have the energy to fight. You just want peace. And he knows this. It is the perfect time for him to advance his borders. That's when he makes financial decisions without you. That's when he isolates you from your family, saying they only make you sicker. That's when he forces you to agree to things that you, when healthy, would never accept. He is using your physical and emotional exhaustion as a weapon against you. When you lose your job, you are financially vulnerable. That is the ultimate leverage. He will use this to justify absolute control. Now you see, you are nothing without me. You can't even support yourself. This phrase will be said or insinuated 1,000 times. He exploits you by using your temporary dependence to create a permanent prison. He humiliates you, makes you feel incompetent, and positions himself as your savior, a savior who charges an exorbitant price for every crumb of security he offers. Your vulnerability becomes the proof of his superiority. He feels strong not by his own merit, but by contrast with your momentary weakness. He needs you to be down so that he can feel on top. That is why, instead of helping you get back on your feet, he subtly, or not so subtly, sabotages your recovery. He does not want you to get better quickly. He does not want you to find another job immediately, because the moment you get back on your feet, you regain your power and his leverage disappears. The narcissist enjoys your crisis. He feels more in control, more potent, and more superior than ever. He is exploiting your weakness, not just to get what he wants in the moment, but to permanently redefine the relationship's power dynamic in his favor. We now come to the deepest, darkest, and most difficult pillar to accept. It's not just about transaction, and it's not just about power. It's about contempt. If you paid attention, the narcissist's reaction to your crisis is not just indifference. It is irritation. It is disgust. It is rage. Why? The narcissist is a construct. He is a grandiose, perfect, and omnipotent false self, hastily built in childhood to hide a true self that he feels is intolerably fragile, defective, and empty. His entire life is dedicated to maintaining this facade and denying, at any cost, the existence of this internal fragility. He has a pathological horror of human vulnerability. Need, illness, sadness, fear, dependency. All of this is, for him, evidence of the weakness that he has spent his entire life repressing and hating in himself. When you become vulnerable, when you cry, when you get sick, when you need help, you become a mirror. You are reflecting back to him, in broad daylight, everything he most despises and fears. He does not look at you and see, the woman I love is suffering. He looks at you and sees weakness, imperfection, neediness, and this disgusts him. Your visible humanity is a terrifying reminder of the humanity he had to kill within himself. His reaction to exploit and punish you is a projection. He is not attacking you. He is attacking his own vulnerability, which he sees reflected in you. That's why the cruelty reaches unimaginable levels. He punishes you for being sick. He ridicules you for grieving. He humiliates you for needing help. He is trying to destroy in you what he cannot bear to see. He despises you for being human. Think about it. What is more human than needing comfort in grief? What is more human than needing care in sickness? By exploiting you in these moments, the narcissist is punishing you for being human. He is punishing you for not being the inanimate object, the perfect and infallible source of supply that he demands you be. This exploitation is not an accident. It is a judgment. He judged you as defective the moment you showed need. The coldness you see in his eyes is not just a lack of empathy. It is active contempt, and that is why, when you are at your lowest point, he not only fails to lift you up, he is the person who offers you a hand, waits for you to almost reach it, and then pulls it back, laughing at your foolish hope that he could be anything other than what he is. This is the unmasking, the total revelation of the pathology. We have analyzed the 3 pillars. Transactional parasitism. You stopped providing and dared to demand. Leveraging supremacy. Your weakness was the perfect opportunity for him to consolidate power. And contempt for weakness, your humanity, reflected the fragility he hates in himself. When you put these 3 pieces together, the puzzle is complete. The exploitation you suffered when you were most vulnerable was not a blip. It was not his bad day. It was not a slip-up. It was the purest and most honest revelation of who he is. It was the clearest definition of the nature of the relationship. In a sense, the narcissist is never more himself than when he is exploiting you in your worst crisis. It is the moment when the partner mask completely dissolves and the predatory mechanism beneath is revealed in its raw functioning. The pain of this realization is immense. It is one of life's most solitary realizations, to recognize that the person who should be your safe harbor is, in fact, the reef waiting for your ship to sink. But within that excruciating pain is your key. This clarity is the only thing that can, in fact, save you. You have stopped trying to get water from a stone. You have seen, without a shadow of a doubt, that the stone is a stone. The illusion was not that the relationship had problems. The illusion was that a relationship existed at all. What existed was a one-way transaction, an exercise of power and a pathological projection. The moment he exploited you in your greatest need was not the end of love. It was proof that love, in the way you understand it, as reciprocity, care, and empathy, was never present on his side. This clarity is your power. It is the fuel for you to never again accept being treated as a resource, as a stepping stone, or as a projection mirror. It is the moment you stop waiting for him to change and start planning how you will get back on your feet, not with his help, but, for the first time, with the unwavering strength of knowing exactly what you are fighting against. And that strength is only yours. In the description of this video, you will find a link with supporting materials created with great care to help you understand and reframe what you have lived or are currently living through. Feel free in the comments below to leave your story, your vent, or even a suggestion for the next video topic. Click on the suggested video on the screen and continue with me in one more video. Remember, you are light. Never forget to shine.